Hello everyone. Chris is sick, so he can't attend today's lesson. I'm the substitute, and then I get to tell you a lot of things. For instance, everything Chris has told you was a lie. Nothing is true about the Hungarian language that he told you. This is a complete and utter bogus. So now, naturally, I am going to tell you the truth.
Hey, what the hell are you doing there?
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
If I ever see you again, I'm gonna make hamburgers out of you. You're early, aren't you? Son of a... Hello and welcome to the next installment of the Learning Hungarian thing. Well, ain't that a thing now? So, as I promised the last time, today we are going to learn about conjugations. Infinite conjugations. Welcome again. I know I told you welcome, but anyway, it's you know, it's just not always enough to welcome and welcome again and yeah. Okay, so these are the conjugations we are going to learn today. I mean, think about it. There is imperative, there is indicative, and of course there is conditional for some reason. Okay, and of course some of these things have past, present and future tenses, and some of these, well, they do not. I mean, think about it. You can't really tell someone what to do in the past. You usually tell them what to do right now. So conditional, or imperative, sorry, has only one tense. And it's kind of present, future-y, whatever. And then indicative has more, because obviously these are just telling you what things are, what they do, and whatever. And of course, the last one is conditional, telling that, well, if I do something, maybe I do that one, or I would do these things, but I won't, because I am not a good person. Or something like that, along those lines. So this has present and past, because I might have done some nice things in the past, I didn't, because I'm not a nice guy. Or maybe I should have gone with the example that I am a nice guy and, well, look, okay. So, let's go over them, because they are very much fun. So first of all, let's review the indicative present, because that's what we have learned already, I believe. I mean, look at these things. First of all, this is tanulok, and then tanuls and all the others. So I believe they are supposed to be familiar to you. And if not, then, well, that's not my fault at all, is it? Well, anyway, let's review this whole bunch of words. I used two of them. I mean, this one is has all the back vowels, and this one has some of the front vowels. So this one is high, this one is low, and luckily these are all the attachments that could go with verbs. Isn't that great? Great, I tell you. Okay, anyway. So let's do it. How about tanulok? You remember this one. It's ek when it comes to the high version of it. And then s is the same. Isn't that great? That is fantastic. And tanul, now this is, if you remember, the third person is always the actual dictionary form of the verb. And then tanulunk, and it's unk, the counterpart, and then tanul tok, that's ek with the high version, and tanul nak and énekel nek. Now this is quite exciting, isn't it? I mean, would you say that it is exciting? I mean, if you don't think that this is exciting, wow, well, this is not your language. But look, the thing is with these almighty things is that they actually are quite, well, unalterable. Once you learn them, you're fine. So that concludes this part. Wasn't that easy? Yeah, all you have to remember is these things, and you don't even have to remember the third person, because why would you have to if it's no different from the dictionary form again? But there is something sinister going on when it comes to the past tense. I mean, look at it. I mean, the past tense is weird, really. Look at the beautiful past, if you can read it, hopefully. I mean, this is tanul tam and énekel tem. It starts out quite cool. Tanul tal and énekel tél. Now this is a mistake, for instance, I made. Remember, everyone makes mistakes in Hungarian, so you have to forgive me if I screw things up. Now, was it intentional? Who knows? Maybe I did it intentionally, maybe I didn't. But the thing is that you are going to make mistakes, both in writing and both in pronouncing things. And that's fine. People are happy if you even try to speak the language. I mean, why wouldn't they? That's crazy. Who would want to speak Hungarian? Every time someone comes to me who says that, hey, I want to buy lessons, want to learn some Hungarian, I always ask, okay, why? I mean, I would be happy to teach stuff, as you can see. You know, I'm smiling and whatever, but look, it's strange. So don't worry about it. Everybody will be happy if you try stuff. But let's fix that. Alright, here we go. Now it's fixed. So again, this is tanul tal and this is énekel tél. So tal and tail, quite cool. Now tanult and énekelt are not that much different from these, from the present, or in this case from the past if you watch the video. Don't get confused. I was just making a joke. So present tense tanul and present tense énekel is the only difference is the T. Tanult, énekelt. And if you can look at all these things together just from the bird's eye view, well, in this case it's like hen's eye view, they all feature T. Sometimes more than one T's. So that's the past tense. It's always with T. You have to remember that, and if you remember that, you can't go wrong, at least very, very wrong. So again, tanult, énekelt, quite cool, no problem. And then tanul tunk, énekelt tünk. And then tunk, tünk are the things that you need. Tanul tatok, that's the longest attachment ever, and even though it's 2 syllables, it is one attachment. Énekeltetek, that's the same. Tanul tak, and then énekeltek. So that one's quite easy. But let me just point something out. Énekeltek and énekeltek are the same. And this is present and that is past. Now you would think that that is a conspiracy. I mean, I know you think all kinds of stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if I thought that you would think that it is a conspiracy, but it's not. It's just, for some reason, the same 3 letters. And that is quite common in Hungarian, and it gets confusing pretty easily, because when it comes to Hungarian, you know it's about attachments, and you know that it's about compound words, so you can put together any 2, 3 or 10,000 words, well, and it would make somewhat sense. And so it's a bit like Lego, of course, like any language. But in this case, you really put the little bricks together, not like in English. I mean, just think about what I'm talking about right now. Just listen to the sentences I make. All words not connected, not fused together. They are separate words, even though if you speak English, well, not very well, then it might seem to you that these are just one sentence is one big word, but only Hungarian can feature a one-word sentence, and that would make sense. If you remember megyek, that's a whole sentence telling you who does what. Anyway, let's go back to the thing. So there we go. We are finished with the past, and that was quite entertaining, I believe. I mean, it must have been, because it featured the totok thing and the tetek. That's the craziest thing ever. Now let's go over to the future, because the future is fun, and as you can see, I was quite lazy. I mean, I didn't put anything in there, just tanul tam and then, oh yeah, stuff. Well, the reason I did that is quite logical. Remember when we talked about future, we said fogok, fogs, fog, fogunk, fogtok, fognak. These are all the, this is the fog word that indicates future. So, basically, you can put whatever version of a verb or whatever verb here with the ni attachment. I know it seems like an M, but this is really an NE, or in English NI, but let's do the Hungarian version NE. So ni, so tanulni, énekelni, whatever. That's gonna be good. So however complicated the past is, it's not as, the future is way less complicated. It only features the fog verb, and you put the NE version of any other verb. And if you remember, which is closely related to member, if it was a Hungarian thing, because, as again, we use compound words and attachments in front of the words and in the back of the words. But anyway, my point is, if I don't screw this up, is that if you remember the previous lessons, you might remember the future tense. So we don't really have to talk about that anymore, would we? I mean, I don't think we would need to do that. So basically we are finished with that, and you know all the tenses that are in Hungarian. No hidden stuff, nothing. If you want to make a positive or a negative sentence, because if you remember, that's just with the word nem, that's it. Megyek, nem megyek, that's about it with the negative. And the questions are megyek, quite easy with the question mark in the end. So basically now you could speak Hungarian if you know, if you knew a bunch of words and if you knew a bunch of expressions. But theoretically, I mean, this is the thing. But it's not that easy, is it? We have 3 more stuff to explore. Well, 2 major. The imperative, and of course, the conditional. The conditional! For something that you might do, but perhaps you won't. You won't. Well, usually it's connected with the if closely, which Hungarian would be ha. So if you want to say sentences like if you do this, I would do that, or whatever, then you can use these. So tanulnék with the nék, énekelnék. Tanulnál, énekelnél. Tanulna, énekelne. Tanulnánk, énekelnénk. Tanulnátok, énekelnétek. Oh yeah, it's the past tense all over again, just a long ass attachment. And then tanulnának, énekelnének. Wow, that is long, I know. But look, it's fine. As soon as you learn them and realize that they are just counterparts with different vowels, then you'll be fine. So if you think about it, it's really not that complicated. Everything I have mentioned in this lesson so far is basically, it comes down to two counterparts with two different vowels, a back vowel, a front vowel, but essentially it's the same attachment. So it might seem a lot, but really it's not. I mean, think about it. It's just a couple of attachments, no more than, well, you know, just 20 or 30 or something, and along with the other 500 you'll be fine. You don't have to worry about anything except learning the attachments. But of course, conditional exists in the past as well. Now this is interesting, because we could learn a whole list of attachments, but actually we don't have to, and that's the great part. It's like the future all over again, except that in the past we use the past tense version of the verb. You can see it's in the past. Tanultam, énekeltem, and now it's tanultam and énekeltem. Quite cool. And we put the volna at the end as a separate word. And it doesn't work. It doesn't even work like fogok, fogs, etc. You have to conjugate this one to past tense and then put the volna in the end. So even though this present conditional has all sorts of silly attachments, this one doesn't. So it makes it really, really cool. It would be really awesome if we could only speak in this past conditional. But of course, this means I would have learned, I would have sang, etc. We don't need this a lot. So it's kind of sad, isn't it? But it would be awesome if this one, this easy thing, would be, well, the whole language, wouldn't it? But sadly no. So we have to learn some attachments. But the great thing about this whole whiteboard right now, at this moment, with the text on it, is that you can recognize some patterns. And of course, I've told you all about the patterns. So if you take the past and you put volna in the end, then you have past conditional. A present conditional you have to learn. If you want to make future, that would be really easy, because you use the word fog and then conjugate it and put the ni version there. And if you want to use the past, well, that sucks. And the present sucks as well, because you have to learn stuff. And there is one more thing, just to fill your head with all sorts of crazy ideas, is the imperative. The imperative, or one would say in a weird voice. Now the imperative is crazy. I mean, imperative in English is just this one, this little word, and it's even easier. Think about it. You say, if you want to say or tell someone to do something, you say learn in a really commanding voice, and then this one is that tanulj in Hungarian with a ye attachment. But of course, very often, if I try to do reported speech or something like that, Peter told me to write, this is what you have to use. Someone told me that tanuljak, so that I would learn, and tanuljon, and tanuljunk, tanuljatok, tanuljanak. Oh, crazy, I tell you. And it gets even more crazier, because tanulj has another version, tanuljal. It's just in AL extra letters in there, but the truth is that this was, in the past, this was cool, and now it's not cool, so people tell you not to do it. You use this one because this is modern and hip and whatever, but when it comes to certain sentences, you may read this even though in speaking you don't use it. So yeah, weird, I know. But look, soon we are going to practice sentences with these, so that's gonna be awesome. And you will understand if you didn't quite or if you couldn't quite able to put these things in there. But the main thing is, if you want someone to do something, this is what you use. And these are for quite advanced Hungarian. And now, of course, they have counterparts. Jak and jek. Énekelj is the same thing, but it's jél instead of jál. And of course, énekeljen, énekeljünk, we do this, énekeljetek, énekeljenek. So that's awesome. Now you might say that, oh my god, this is crazy, this is evil, and I could say that or something like that. Of course, you have to remember, you can practice this evil laugh if you ever try to teach Hungarian or English or whatever, because every language has its evil thing. Or in the case of Hungarian, multiple things. Or something. So look, these are all the conjugations you would need, but there is one catch. These are only the infinite conjugations. And by infinite I mean that there is no object in the sentence. So you learn something, you sing something. Oh, but no, you just learn or you just sing. Because if there is an object in the sentence, if you learn something in particular, well, that's different. And that's gonna be the main theme or the topic of the next program. So wow, yeah, I know, I mean, this is horrific, or it could be. Although you have to remember that we are done with the verbs in infinite conjugation. So that's it. Think about English for a second. I mean, either English is your second language or it's your native language. Either case, think about it for a bit. I mean, for instance, if I say that, I go somewhere, that seems easy. But what if I want to make a negative? I don't go somewhere. Or another tense, I am not going somewhere. I didn't go. Did you go? Were you going? Oh, I have broken my leg. By the time the dinner is ready, I will have finished homework. Now what the heck is that future perfect, horrific thing? Wow. So yeah, well, that's my point. English is much more complicated. When we have finished the whole verb, at least the theory of the verb. Take any verb and you can conjugate it. Although there are some exceptions, but what language doesn't have exceptions? Seriously, I mean, for instance, in English it would be read, read, read instead of read, readed, readed. Huh? Well, of course you would understand if I told you readed, or at least, may have an idea of what's going on. And as I mentioned it before, in Hungarian it's kind of the same. So it's not that complicated, it's not that hard, and you can make mistakes. And that's the craziest thing ever, don't you think? I mean, if you don't speak a language, you don't know what instant or how far you should go with the whole pronouncing things, telling other people things, before they understand you. And English and languages are a kind of flexible, and that's the craziest thing ever, isn't it? I mean, languages are awesome in a way that they can express very complicated and complex thoughts and poems and emotions and whatever, but also they are kind of well, how can I put it? They are kind of redundant when it comes to expressing things. They rely heavily on culture, meaning that sometimes I tell you that for this, and then you think that, oh right, so I'm pointing something out. And what if I told you that red? Maybe I'm pointing something red, or pointing to something red. And that's exactly the big advantage of languages. You can speak Hungarian a little bit, and people would understand you. But there's a catch. You can speak Hungarian a little bit, but if it's really crucial, for instance, you're in a hospital and every bone in your body is broken, and you really need to tell the doctor that you are diabetic, for instance, that's the hard part of the language, because you might not remember. So if you plan to live in Hungary, I suggest you learn the language, or come to Hungary for a longer period of time. I suggest you learn the language very well. But if you are just visiting, you can be okay with some phrases, but when it comes to phrases, of course, you can always rely on English, because, well, not in the countryside, but most people come to Budapest, and in Budapest a lot of people speak English. To some extent. So these infinite conjugations are cool, aren't they? I mean, just look at them. They are perfect in a sense of whatever. And if you count them, I haven't, but if you take the time to count them, this is exactly the amount we will talk about the next time, when it comes to, or when it will come to, the definite conjugations, because they are very cool. Remember, and this is a very, very big thing I'm going to tell you, so pay attention. Come closer. Come on. Alright. How about I come closer? Oh well, maybe this is awkward. How about I'm backing up a little? Yeah, is this cool? Alright. So, the biggest thing. I am going to tell you right now at this moment, without further ado, without further suspense, without talking about something else, before I tell you the big thing, just stalling, because stalling is fun for me, but it's not for you, and you are, you are getting pumped up, and you really want to know the stuff what I'm going to tell you, but I'm just not telling you because I'm rambling about something else. So yes, the big thing is that I can't remember. I'm just kidding. The big thing is that this is all the grammar you need. The only difference will be between the definite and indefinite or infinite stuff is that for something to be definite in Hungarian or in any language, but we are talking about Hungarian now, you have to talk about something in particular. And this is something a lot of people get confused with. So what is something in particular? How can I use the infinite instead of the definite part? Well, the easy answer is that, let me get a prop. There you go. Finally caught her. So, she is something, well, a cow in particular. So, we all know that her name is Rose. Well, now you know too. And she's evil. And she likes to play games and whatever. So now that, you, Rose, you, now you got introduced. So, now you know, if I talk about her, if I sing to her or sing a song titled Rose, then that is something in particular. But if I talk about cows in general, then, well, they are not something in particular. So, something that is something in particular can be one or two or many things, but we both have to know what we are talking about. And in English is easy. You say that I read the book you gave me. That's something in particular. But I read books. That's something infinite. So as long as we are running in a forest, or singing just in the shower, a shower could be a place in particular, but we are not singing a particular song. And that's the thing. That's what people usually mix up. That you have to tell, or you have to be able to tell the difference between something that we both know, so it's that thing, or something that it's in general. So you might know it, you might not know it. I saw a movie, but that movie, if I explain it, could be something in particular. Right. Well, all right, troopers. This concludes today's lesson. Was it exciting? I hope it was, because otherwise I would have to come and get you. Or, I don't know, you can stop watching it any time. But anyway, we defined all the infinite stuff. Next time we will define all the definite things and the conjugations. And then we can start making sentences. Isn't that great? I mean, then after that we will be able to make all kinds of sentences. And I can introduce a lot of different attachments, but you will always remember this one. And of course, you can always use the conjugator I talked about in the previous video. So you don't have to do this yourself. Well, eventually you have to learn it, obviously, if you want to talk, because that's way faster than actually just, using a smartphone, putting things in the conjugator and making the sentences. But we are getting there, don't worry about it. Learning Hungarian takes 3 to 5 years. I mean, learning English compared to that, it's about 2-3 years. So, well, to the same level. So, right, this is it. I'm not telling you any more things today. I'm tired. I don't like these early morning lessons. So, goodbye and something. Thank you for watching the video.